No, I can't do anything. All right, so here we are, guys. Thank you so much for joining the chat. And like I was saying, if you watch the title, that's what I want to talk about it for a moment. Um, this is the second time. Today I was looking at some numbers regarding also the other H1, H whatever, N1, H1 flu of last time, which actually killed more than 200,000 people. I was actually quite shocked, and it lasted for more than 400 days or something like that overall. So that shocked me because I forgot. And it happened in a time in 2009, it started where, you know, I was doing my business. I just didn't see my reality around here. And of course, nowadays, this is different. This feels much more a reality. Everything is shutting down. There is not only the medical concern and a little bit like the fear rising of each country going through their peak individually, but also about what is going to happen for a lot of people that they have businesses, small businesses, and they don't know like if they're going to be helped or not. So, and on that regard, I want to say, uh, despite everything, despite what I'm going through personally as well, I cannot help but see also some possibilities here, some possibilities of human nature to rectify itself slightly, perhaps for the better. There is also a chance that thing just, shit hits the fan and we just go crazy and start to shoot each other. There is always that type of possibility, unfortunately. But I lean towards the belief that we might go through a transition that will help us see better what we're doing. And uh, when we look at this thing, when we look at this virus, when we look at what is happening, and then we realize that the reason why this thing exists, it's because of our greed, because we are exploiting the system of capitalizing on trading, on trades of the stuff, on products which they're created and sold. So demand and production, people wanting more, people producing more, supply and demand, and we reached basically a level where we are not asking anymore ourselves if we need what we buy, if we really have to indulge all the time in this and that and that and that and that and this extra gram of this and whatever. So uh, like something like this, when it happens and it's caused by human hands, even though it comes from animals, but still comes from the fact of not respecting right hygiene, not respecting wild animals and farmed animals. You just throw everything together in the most like bizarre type of way, which is leads to an explosion, of pathogens or whatever, because this stuff still happens also, like if you take the dairy industry. I'm not preaching, I'm not making this about being vegetarian or vegan, please stay here. This is just an overview, a conscious overview of how we treat our industries, so you take the dairy industries, especially the one which they're massive, the big ones, where, literally like cows that have a freaking hole on the side of their stomach and they can unscrew the top and check their stomach, what kind of bacteria and stuff they have inside. I mean, when I saw the type of stuff, to me, it looked like a horror movie. I was not even aware you could drill a freaking hole this big in the side of a cow and she could still live. You know what I mean? I was totally impressed. And, like if you do analysis of like hugely industrialized milk, there is residues of stuff in the milk because, of course, those cows are exploited to death, filled with antibodies and so on and so forth to keep down, E. coli's and things produced by urine and feces, and also like the stuff that, like the leftover of slaughterhouses, and also the industry of slaughtering animal, that while they're growing they produce so many feces and it gets into the falde aquifer, it goes like into the water streams and pollutes everything. This is just one. Sorry if I went on a tangent there about the milk thing, but just to show that we are exploiting this industrialized system to a way almost no return. So when something like this happens, because it was already happening before, like somebody of you already mentioning Adam, like E. coli, like I said, and other issues, this is just one part. When we get a virus like this that it comes out exactly the same way of the last one, you know what I mean? And it clearly showing us like, hey guys, maybe 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 now it's time to rethink what we do. We really need bat soup? Do we really need, and I'm not trying to make speculation to point the finger, but in general, this worldwide, I'm not blaming one place or whatever, but maybe should we rethink how we make use on what we eat? And perhaps if we just pay a little bit more attention, we might not only keep going, but literally save our lives. So one part of me feels that we're going to get through this. Of course we're going to get through this, but we're getting through this at the cost already of losing so many family members. And it doesn't matter if they're old, it doesn't matter if they're already getting there, doesn't matter. It's like this is a speeding up of people which they're relevant and important for some, each one that has lost somebody already, of the 7,000 plus people. It's a reminder, like that if we can do something, to delay that, why not? Not just because people are old, they then, that's fine, it's just old people problem. So this is also a reminder that this whole thing, it's not only stopping economy, but by going through it, these phases of crisis, we are also losing like their ones. So I wonder how much is going to take for us to realize that we have to shift into a different paradigm. We have to shift in a different way of approaching wealth, production, and approaching the way we consume. Because now, if you notice that cities are shutting down, I was reading an article yesterday that they're starting to see swan going back into Venice canals, and the water is cleaner. What do we got here? Sorry, I cannot pick up the phone now. I apologize. So there are like, you have this sense also that we are withdrawing a little bit more from what our stuff, from the things that we were doing, and nature's, it's already creeping in a positive way, And I know I have a pink thing. You're listening to a dude with a hoodie with a shirt that says "Always spread love," and I have a pink toe. What is that? Finger? Yeah. Yes, you're listening to me. So we are withdrawing a little bit more into our houses, and nature is creeping in again in the most wonderful way, showing that nature keeps going. When I look outside the window, the magnolia trees are blooming, and it gives me this sense like, wow, it's just so beautiful that everything is going on. And like I said before, even though I'm going through my own experience of this, with the sense also dangers of precarity, like of I don't know if I will manage to keep going, for instance, I also see something that it's quite positive about this, like the word is going on, keeps going, nature keeps going. We are withdrawing a little bit, and nature is just doing its thing. I also saw other articles describing that, talking about the fact that there's less car, there's less pollution. So it seems almost like an attempt of planet Earth to say like, listen, you know what? I've given you different warnings, but you just don't listen. You're just behaving like an asshole. So here we are. Like, I'm just gonna ground you and make you think on what you're doing to your environment, because we are part of nature as well. So I see this as this type of event. And make no mistake, to me, this already feels like one of the most catastrophic events of our generation. I think we have to go back to the Second World War to have like something that it's been so global and already infiltrating the mind and awareness of the collective. We are in this together, from my sister in New York to my brother in Japan to you guys everywhere. We have that sense that we're going through something that is quite big. And even though we could argue, yes, but the number of people infected, it's still a small percentage compared to the entire population, which is true. And also the people that died. There's a lot of people dying of so many causes. But again, like, this is something that spreads really quickly and is showing once again what we could look forward in a negative sense in the future if we make more mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, it could be even more rapid, flash next time, like the mortality goes up like Ebola style, So this is a moment really of reflection, of thinking like individually, probably what we can do to use our resources as system in the most efficient way. Because in this moment where people in Italy are grounded basically and more cities are shutting down, we are forced, we are forfeiting our freedom. We live a little bit in fear, in doubt and uncertainty. And all of a sudden the things that we gave for granted, like hugging, kissing, caring for somebody, going for a walk, just sharing a dinner with somebody that you care for, seems not possible anymore, and they become very relevant. The desire of having a trip to the beach, walking through nature, all the things that connect us with each other and with nature now seems like, like a little bit of a memory. And so in this moment, it's really important to have just to reflect and go like, wow, we're not going to have another chance if we don't start to work on this. And the most beautiful thing is that in these dire circumstances, you see labs, scientists working together, like really speeding up the process of finding out. This morning, I read this news that this medicinal was used in Genoa, northern Italy, to cure from the virus a 79-year-old man that now is tested negative to corona. That's a beautiful news. That's a beautiful news. I'm not even a fan of Trump, but I'm following the press conference every day, and they're going through like all that is available in between the medicinal and new experimentation to speed up. Usually like phases of trial of a medicine or a vaccine or whatever takes time, and they're trying to speed up, like this process. Uh, they say 1 year. I really hope, like doctor yesterday said, like we cannot make any promise, but we are like fast tracking everything here, the fastest we can go. So when I see these in this moment of crisis, that people come together, the bright mind of the word come together to help us as well. This is a burden that we do feel, but sometimes we feel, of course, powerless because we cannot do anything to find out, because we don't have a background in biology. We are not scientists. So those wonderful minds, we have to sort of doesn't matter if you believe in something or you don't believe in something. I feel that I belong in this universe that is quite bigger than me. So I'm open to leave few doors open in terms of what is possible, what is not. And therefore in a like a sort of very honest way, I open up my mind and soul to the universe in a prayer to just bring like wisdom and illumination to those people that they're working on solutions. And it truly is magnificent and reassuring that we are a collective consciousness, that we are in it all together, because those people are working tirelessly, not only the doctors and the nurses and nurse to fight in first line for who is sick, but also all the scientists and the other people which they're trying to find a solution for this crisis. So that's truly beautiful. And then when this is past, we can do our part in being conscious, in being aware that every action causes a reaction. Every cause and effect, everything that you do creates an effect somewhere else. And by looking at it better, Perhaps we can create, I know this sounds a little bit, like I'm just going freely. This is all not scripted. This is all a rant, not scripted. But by being completely conscious of our action, we can change the future for the better, all of us. And it will not require really great sacrifices. Just being aware of what you put in your mouth, how it's used, how it's created, or the things that you buy uh, will affect the way the world works in terms of production chain, distribution, pollution, and all of those things. So, again, to close it up, we did a nice 20 minutes talk. To close it up, uh, this is a moment of reflection for all of us because we're going to get through the night. We're going to get through the night, but then after, we don't have to forget. We don't have to forget. Otherwise, we're going to go through it again. It might be worse. It might be the end. And perhaps, like you wonder if that has to happen because the planet needs a bigger fever to get rid of stubborn viruses, so to speak. Even though I know that sometimes it's easy to point the finger at men and oh, no, no, no. We are also part of this. We are also part of this, and we are part of nature, and we're just learning. We are learning as well. So far, we haven't done the best job we can do in terms of understanding our survival, how to respect our survival, and like creating thriving environment and all of it together, and also respecting where we take it from. And this is really now the moment of looking at those things with more clarity and awareness, because yeah, we are all in this together. We truly are all in this together, and more than ever, you realize um, you realize how close we are. This is both sad and wonderful, how close we are to each other right now, all of us, from the Philippines to Amsterdam to New York to Israel to Mexico to any other place, Argentina. We're so close to each other that we almost feel like we're in the same room. And this is the way it should be. This is the type of awareness that we should have. So, at the end of the day, always spread love. And yeah, now it's time to take questions, huh? Wow, I went on a 90 minutes rant, guys. Thank you so much for thank you so much for listening to me. I wanted to do that first of all because when the video goes on the channel, whoever is coming right away to look at the video can just follow the whole conversation without having to skip or being delayed in between me reading comments. So I wanted to do that first, get out of the way, so to speak. I had those thoughts in my head, and I just want to share it with you in a like a stream of consciousness, without yeah, not scripted or anything. So